For today we have a very fun project to make. It always works and it never fails. Here you can get creative as you like. The butterfly basically just broke. Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. For today we have a very fun project to make. We will be making hoops and make them more fancy with a lot of butterflies on them. In this video I will show you how to make these beautiful butterflies, and you can use them on their own or put them on hoops like I did, or create maybe bracelets. You can even create flowers from them. Maybe I will show that in future videos of mine. This shape is very universal and you can repeat the same size of butterflies pretty easily as well. So I will show you how I'm making those exact butterflies. I was debating between dangly earrings or hoop earrings, but I chose hoop earrings, so here we go. We will be making butterfly hoop earrings, so yeah, let's start. We're beginning everything with wing wrapping. For that, I'm using my wire from Rio Grande, which is sponsoring this video, which I'm very thankful about. And I have a code for you for $20 off of your shipping price. After we measured 1.1 centimeter, we're bending 50 degrees angle with round nose pliers. And now we're measuring everything from the corner. So the upper part of the wing, we need to be 0.7 millimeters, and the down part is 0.8 millimeters. Then we're putting our round nose pliers again on those dots we created and bending according to where our wire should go. And after that, we're just taking a good flush cut pliers and removing the excess of wire we don't need. And we need to tuck everything tightly just to create that beautiful wing, and we will solder it. And here we want to use as less solder as we can use. Then we won't be having a big job of cleaning everything off, because when we're working with detailed pieces like this, less solder the better, because we will be using more solder when we will be soldering that on a plate as well. And when we're working with detailed pieces, it's way better to have small container that you can put your pickling solution in, because it's easier to get it out basically. So I always use those small glass containers, and I'm just putting those in my pickle pot. Now we're preparing for stamping our plate, where we will be soldering these butterfly pieces on. This step is optional because I don't know what kind of stamping you have. I will link these ones down below, but you can get very creative with your stamping. You can make those marks even with a round drill as well, so it's very optional. And here I'm just showing you, if you have stamps, how I'm usually working with stamps. I'm just going around and holding that very tightly just to get a good impression, because with bigger marks we always have to work more just to get that in. And I did correct a bit with another small dots I had. So yeah, you don't have to be perfect here for sure. I'm not very great at stamping, so if you have some tips, leave that in a comment. Now we're preparing our wings to be soldered. So as you know, the main soldering rule is to make sure we have flat bottoms where we want that solder would flow, because it has to touch the surface, especially where we are stamping. We always make that plate not flat anymore. So we have to make sure that we use a hammer and make it flat as we can. This step is optional as well, but I always like to use sweat soldering technique because it always works. It takes more time, of course, because we have to prepare each detail just to be soldered on, but it always works and it never fails. And now when we prepared all wings on our plates, we have to heat it up from the bottom part because our wings are very fragile compared to the plate. So the plate will always need way more flame. So it's the best option to have something under. This time I didn't had. I just went for freehand soldering. After pickling and pushing that more with pliers, we are doing the same step again. Of course, if we wouldn't had stamping on and making that flat, beautiful sheet not flat anymore, we would went through one step and it would be done. But if you want a beautiful soldering joints, never go fully with first round because you will end up with a lot of solder on and a lot of polishing and sanding later on. You know, we don't want that. We want as clean as we can be in soldering station. Trust me, I know that. Now time to saw, and we will be sawing everything out using lots of lubrication. Always use that, really. I'm just not showing that all the time on the camera, but I truly do a lot of lubrication. Just keeps your saw blade not breaking and way smoother cutting for sure. And if you want even more smooth cutting, you actually have to choose your blades according to your thickness of the sheet. And by the way, we're working on 0.4 millimeter thickness of the sheet, so this saw blade wasn't good for that. But I actually ran out on my saw blades, so you know, I was using what I had. And now we're basically cleaning off the edges of our butterfly, which we will be polishing later on, but I like to keep it clean work as I'm going on because it's easier to track where I'm going with my pieces and how it's looking. So now we have quite an army of butterflies and we need to bend them. I'm bending in different directions. Here you can get creative as you like. One will be going with wings up, another one wings down, another one less wings up. So, you know, you're just choosing how you want to see them basically. And more variety you will bring to the piece, the better basically it will look because we want to create that natural aspect, how they would be landing, and everyone would be a bit different. And finally, we will be creating hoops that our butterflies would have home. Now I'm wrapping the wire on a wood round mandrel. Well, at least I call it that way, but I got that from hardware store, so I'm sure you can find something like this there. And we have a lot of spring back with this kind of wire for sure. So I'm just keeping everything very tightly just to measure my sizing and cut it and coming back on the same mandrel just to keep that wire hardened. And then we will go and bend a bit more with our fingers and come back on the mandrel as well until we reach the point where we have that opening as we like. We harden more just because if we would go straight with our fingers, we would bend the wire too much. So hardening keeps that spring back in place and we can correct it with our hands without, you know, breaking the shape too much. And now we have to solder those beautiful butterflies on hoops. For that, we create a groove that our hoop earring would rest in. It's very important. Then we will make sure that we're soldering everything very tightly and secure and it won't come off. And this way we're creating all those grooves for our all butterflies according how you want to place them on your hoop. We're soldering them one by one and making sure we're creating angles that we want our butterflies would be laying on. In this part, you can see that I was bending my third hands just to create the angle, and then I'm soldering the butterfly. We had some mistakes too, which you have to see that as well, because I didn't had a good soldering day there, and the butterfly basically just broke. Third hand was holding too tight, and when the heat spread, it just came off. Then I tried to fix it, and I was like, yes, that's good. And it wasn't on hoop. You know, at that moment, I truly was like saying some words, but I lost that control, and I was like, okay, free hand here. But why did it broke? It broke just because the butterfly itself was very fragile according to the hoop. So yeah, we had some soldering joints there. It couldn't last at that point. So here you can see I was using a wire or pliers just to make everything steady, that I could solder that without any stress, and I would have all that control. Positioning is the key all the time in soldering. Now you can see I'm creating a dip for my ear post. I was talking about ear post and how to harden that on my other video, so I will tag that. Now we reached the last sanding and polishing steps for our beautiful hoop earrings. I didn't want to see any soldering lines, so I was working with my silicone wheels here, which I truly enjoy to work with if I don't have a lot of metal to remove. It just blurs everything out basically. It truly works very beautifully, even for taking out that unwanted solder as well. After polishing, I went for patina effect just to accentuate those butterflies even more and to remove that patina where I don't want that to be, or just to smudge that out a bit more. I'm using these brilliant polishing cloths. I don't know how they call exactly, but they're working. I use them all the time to remove patina, and really try it out if you haven't tried it. And to finish everything, I put it in the tumbler on a very slow speed. They're so dainty and pretty and lightweight. Really, it's a very beautiful piece of jewelry. So I hope you pick something from this video. Maybe just create dainty hoop, or even go for a challenge and create these beautiful butterfly earrings as well. For me, if you learned something out of my videos or even made the same piece that I was showing, it's so nice to hear that you succeeded. I really get those comments and I'm like, that's so nice. So I hope this video was useful and I hope you like it. And I will see you in my next one.